Part 51 of Folk Truth to Talk. Yay, everybody! I'm so excited and yet a little saddened that this week we are concluding the video blog from my romance suspense of Folk Truth to Talk. I want to thank all of you who have tuned in each week or read along with me. I never realized how long the process would be, but I love you for being faithful and showing up. As I told the story, I've tried to imagine you sitting across the table from me as if we were old friends. This video blog is a little longer this week as I felt it necessary to get the rest of the story in. But it is the grand finale of If Folk Truth to Talk. So being true to my word, I wanted to give you the surprise gift that I mentioned in the last video blog for being here today and in the past weeks. Claim your surprise gift now. Click here. I can only offer this free gift for a few days, starting August 30th, 2016 through September the 2nd, 2016. So I encourage you to please get it while you can. Spoiler: if you do not want to know the end of the story, do not read any further or click on the video. Simply get your free gift. We are picking up in chapter 22, The Ghost, and we'll finish the book in chapter 23. They rushed out of the door and ran down the hallway, going as fast as Helen could with her walker. Soon they rounded the corner to the nurse's station. When Nurse Warren saw them, she immediately ran to them, and she could see that they were very upset. "Is everything okay, Mrs. Tyler?" Nurse Warren asked. "No, not at all. It is urgent that we call our daughter," Helen said. "Okay, but is there anything that I can do to help you?" Nurse Warren asked. "No, please, I just need to talk with my daughter immediately," Helen stated. Nurse Warren went around the desk and placed the telephone onto the counter. "Do you know your daughter's telephone number, Mrs. Tyler?" "Yes, I do," Helen answered as she dialed Amelia's number as fast as she could while Henry held the phone. "Here, Henry, tell her what you told me," Helen ordered. The telephone rang once, twice, 3 times, and still no answer. Then on the fourth ring, Amelia answered the phone. "Hello, Still Resident," she said. "Amelia, it's your father. Something's terribly wrong. Mr. Hodges and Sheriff Eugene are going to commit murder if they haven't already. I heard them say it needed to be done immediately to a Mr. Stapleton. We need you to convince someone that I'm not making this up. Something has to be done," Henry said very directly. "Do you understand me, Amelia? I heard them say that they were going to do it. I also saw what they were going to do it with. The sheriff is dirty, so I do not know who to call. Please tell Robert. We would like to get out of here as soon as possible. Daddy, Mr. Howard and Mr. Henderson are here. They will know what to do. Go back to your room immediately and we will come after you. Lock the door. We will be there after you. Hurry, go back to your room and wait on us to get there. Do not open the door until you hear mine or Robert's voice," Amelia pleaded. Amelia ran immediately into the front room where her company was. She told them what her daddy had overheard and seen. Mr. Howard used Amelia's telephone and immediately called the county's district attorney and the regular police department since Glenview is in the city limits. Mr. Howard and Mr. Henderson left immediately to go to Glenview. Robert called his sister and dropped the boys off, as Nurse Melba Applegate and Amelia drove on to Glenview. When Amelia had gotten to Glenview, the police was already there. She pressed through with Nurse Applegate after convincing the police that it was her parents that had called. She ran through the entrance past the nurse's station to the hallway where her parents' room was. She knocked urgently and told them to please open up. Immediately, Henry opened the door and Amelia fell in his arms. He was obviously shaken, but strong. Amelia then ran to her. "Mama, are you okay?" "We're fine, dear. Just upset that Mr. Hodges is so evil. I feel sorry for poor Ed and Ida Jean Perkins. Bless their hearts. How their hearts must break to have a son like Sheriff Eugene," Helen sighed sadly. "Daddy, the police are going to want to talk with you. Are you ready for this?" Amelia asked. "Yes, dear, I'm ready." "You do believe me, don't you, Amelia?" Henry asked rather pathetically. "Of course I believe you, Daddy," Amelia reassured. When Amelia and her parents walked around the corner, Mr. Hodges was pressed up against the wall in handcuffs. Henry couldn't believe what he saw. He feared that they would think he was just a senile old man because it was his word over Mr. Hodges, but they took him seriously. "Mr. Tyler, sir, may we speak to you, please?" "Absolutely, police officer," Henry said as he followed the police officer and signed papers promising that all the things he had witnessed and heard were true. Mr. Howard was by Henry's side. "Oh, and Mr. Tyler, good news, you saved Mr. Stapleton's life. He is in very serious condition, but he is alive. Seems that what was in the syringe was some kind of allergens that Mr. Hodges knew that he was allergic to. It would have been fatal if you had not called when you did. We will ask more questions later. Go home and get some rest," the police said. "Let's go home, Helen. Are you ready?" Henry asked as he pulled her in to him and kissed her hard on the lips. "I have never been more ready in my life, my hero," Helen said with a huge smile. "Oh, it was just a ghost," Henry said with that familiar little impish grin. Nurse Melba smiled as she stood in the distance and watched Amelia's parents. Robert and Amelia were standing beside her. "Your parents are the real deal, aren't they?" Melba asked. "Yes, my dear friend, they are the real deal. You must really get to know them," Amelia answered as she watched her parents with tears of joy and admiration in her eyes. Chapter 23, Home Sweet Home. Henry and Helen walked out of their bedroom into the kitchen. Helen put them on a pot of coffee. She couldn't wait for it to finish brewing, though, for her heart longed to see the sun come up. She walked out of the front doors onto the patio and sat down. It was a brand new life, and as the sun came up, Helen was grateful for the second chances. Soon Henry came out with coffee in hand. "Here, my love, just the way you like it. You are here and sharing it with me. That's the way I like it," Helen commented. "I want to make a toast. This is to a long, healthy, and happy life together," Henry said as they clicked their cups gently together. They sat peacefully as the sun rose, and Henry and Helen's new life had begun. Henry and Helen lived their life with even more passion and purpose the second time around. They lived it with more awareness of all the tiny things that were so important. They realized that all of those tiny things in their lives that they used to take for granted, when added up, were the sum of all the big things that were the most important. Henry and Helen had a second chance at being parents, grandparents, neighbors and friends, and even great-grandparents. They truly pursued love. The love they pursued wasn't the generic kind of love that was based on condition. No, they learned the true unconditional kind of love. They enjoyed the giving of it and the receiving of it. Henry and Helen found out that the difficult things that come are not supposed to tear apart, but are meant to bind together. As soon as Henry was well enough, he went back to work at his hardware store. When he went back, the business more than doubled. It wasn't because people needed more hardware, but because the people crowded in for the entertainment of hearing Henry tell his stories again. He told news stories of a man who went into a nursing home with memory loss, but when he went to remember things, he'd sat under an old oak tree in his mind. He could then remember again. The people thought that he was sure telling some whoppers. Henry thought how life reads like a good fiction. As people pressed him for more and more stories, he decided to pen his own stories to see if anyone would take the time to read it. He entitled his story If Oak Trees Could Talk. Henry and Helen lived and loved until they were 98 years old. That was almost 25 years after they walked out of Glenview. They were married 80 years. They both died within 2 days of each other and were buried in one grave under the old oak tree. Their monument read, "They passionately pursued love and life." Everything they owned, of course, went to Amelia's family with only one exception. Henry and Helen wanted all the proceeds of the sales of Henry's book, If Oak Trees Could Talk, to go to some folks who couldn't afford their bills at the Glenview Residential Home for the Elderly in Mason Creek, Georgia. Robert, Amelia, and their family still had a crowd of regulars at Tyler's hardware store. People would still gather around to hear Henry tell his stories for years after he had died. At Amelia's suggestion, he had physically recorded himself reading his story of If Oak Trees Could Talk, as well as his other embellished tales. Folks would come in as usual. They would get them an ice-cold soda pop along with the brown paper sack of fresh hot boiled peanuts cooked with Henry's very own recipe. As they pulled themselves up a chair and listened to Henry's whopper tales, they continued to enjoy Henry's company. Thank you once again for tuning in or reading along with me. It is my hope that you've enjoyed my romance suspense novel, If Oak Trees Could Talk, for it has been my pleasure to share it with you. As always, I would love to hear from you. I want to thank all of you that have begun following my WordPress blog. Please continue to tune in as we have some new and exciting things to come. If you are interested in obtaining your own copy of Folk Trees Could Talk or any of my other books, please visit my Amazon author page. Also, if you are new to my video blogs or would like to catch up on the story from the beginning, please check out the archives of this blog or simply subscribe to my YouTube videos as they are numbered and in order. I am also a weekly contributor to the Lakeview Times. All of my videos are published each week at www.lakeviewtimes.com.